The introduction. In a quiet corner of Windermere, a small town enveloped by thick woods and misty rain, the uneventful rhythms of daily life teetered on the brink of disruption. As dawn broke, it was the kind of morning that felt like a veil had settled across the landscape. The sky was a muted gray, promising a downpour, while the scent of damp earth mingled with the slight chill in the air. It was a place where little ever changed, a town steeped in routine where old stories lingered, half remembered and buried beneath layers of time. On that particular morning, a woman named Clara Thompson would break the monotony of Windermere's existence. She was a local librarian, a figure as familiar to the townsfolk as the century-old oak tree rooted in the park. Clara took pride in her solitary life, nestled among books that transported her beyond the confines of her small town. But underneath her composed exterior lay an impatience for anything that could shatter the confines of her world. Her shift began like any other, sunlight unable to pierce the thick clouds as she prepared for the day ahead. She flicked the sign on the door to open, an inviting yet hopeful gesture. Just as she settled into the peaceful hum of her morning, a figure moved through the mist, a stranger among the familiar. It was a fleeting moment, one that would haunt the town and awaken secrets long thought forgotten. The victim. The town of Windermere was oblivious to the storm about to break when the body was discovered. A few days after Clara's ordinary morning, a hiker stumbled upon a clearing deep within the woods, where the underbrush had grown thick and unruly. The scent of decay hung heavy in the air, blending with the damp earth and fallen leaves. Golden sunlight filtered through the trees, a stark contrast to the darkness of the scene that awaited. As he ventured deeper, the hiker's heart quickened, an instinctual sense of dread urging him to turn back. But curiosity bound him, and he stepped further, where nature had claimed its territory. There, half hidden beneath the fallen branches, lay the lifeless form of a woman. Her clothes, tattered and stained, clung to her skin as if she had fought against the elements until her last breath. Nearby, a cracked cell phone lay discarded, screen shattered, void of hope. Panic surged through the hiker as he stumbled back, hastily retreating to the trail and following a path worn by countless footsteps. It wasn't long before the whisperings of the discovery reached the tight-knit community, drawing the shrouded reality into the glaring light. The victim, identified as Emily Renshaw, was a beloved art teacher who had vanished the previous week. Once a vibrant soul filled with laughter and warmth, she had become just a name, a silhouette in the backdrop of grief. As the news spread, the townsfolk wrestled with disbelief, their safe haven now marred by tragedy. The bleak realization that evil had intruded into their lives sent ripples of apprehension through the community, pulling them closer to the edge of chaos. The crime scene. Police sirens wailed through Windermere, shattering the fragile calm that had enveloped the town. As law enforcement officials secured the perimeter, a stark contrast emerged between the serene landscape and the chaotic reality unfolding within. The clearing. Once a hidden sanctuary of nature, transformed into a focal point for investigation. Ropes marked the boundaries, cordoning off the area, and officers donned gloves as they stepped cautiously onto the forest floor, their movements deliberate and measured. Detective Sarah Lane arrived on scene, her gaze sweeping the immediate vicinity. She had built her reputation on solving murders in any environment, but this Plesty woods she had grown up wandering felt different. The whispering wind through branches seemed to carry the weight of 1,000 seas. As she crouched beside the body, the pale, half-formed features of Emily Renshaw stared unseeing toward the heavens. A delicate clash of life and death lay before her, leaving only the haunting echo of what once was. Evidence scattered around them told a story of struggle. Mud-stained footprints and fallen pieces of clothing hinted at a confrontation. A canvas bag, torn open, revealed brushes and half-finished artworks, the remnants of Emily's passion for teaching. Sarah's mind raced as she cataloged each detail. A life extinguished, but the underlying narrative begged for exploration. The closest officer crouched next to her, noting a small locket clasped in Emily's hand, the ornate design glinting in the filtered sunlight, a sign of moments that contradicted her current fate. As they collected evidence and recorded deductions, a shroud of uncertainty cloaked Windermere. The detective understood this crime scene would not just reveal a tale of tragedy, but perhaps expose dormant darkness swirling beneath the town's placid surface. The early investigation. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the atmosphere in Windermere shifted from shock to urgency. The investigation had officially begun, and the local police department mobilized swiftly, folding details into their routines. Their once quiet existence, now thrust into a whirlwind of uncertainty. The municipal building, usually a hub of mundane paperwork and township meetings, transformed into a command center bristling with tension and quick decisions. Detective Sarah Lane convened a meeting with her team. Heads bowed over hastily scrawled notes and photographs from the crime scene. Each officer spoke with a mix of concern and determination, digging into the wooden desk as they articulated theories while tracing Emily's last known movements. Friends, colleagues, and family members were summoned. Any scrap of information could light the path to understanding her untimely demise. At the center of their focus was a disheveled figure. Emily's closest friend, Sarah Winters. Her voice trembled as she recounted a troubling exchange they had shared just days before. She said she was being followed. Sarah whispered, glancing at the floor as if she held the weight of her friend's fears. "Yeah, oh, I thought it was just stress from work." The room fell silent, the implication hanging dense in the air. Detective Lane's brow furrowed as she captured both the ominous tone and the immediacy of helplessness in Sarah's words. The investigation shifted gears now. It posed an unknown strangler hovering near the surface of the town, missed by the naked eye. As nighttime fell, the tension thickened. Without a solid lead on who might have harbored malice against Emily, a haunting dread settled over Windermere. It became painfully apparent the townsfolk were not just victims of an unsolved crime. They had also become players in a sinister narrative. Every glance exchanged now laced with paranoia. The dead ends. Days bled into nights as the investigation navigated through a muddied maze of conflicting testimonies and elusive leads. The cacophony of speculation and fear that seeped into the fabric of Windermere. Detective Sarah Lane pored over piles of evidence, her concentration wavering with each new dead end, as though she were running a race where the finish line kept retreating. Attention turned toward Emily's social media accounts, where her playful posts and cheerful selfies painted a picture far removed from the grim reality of her last moments. Friends had commented in support of her passion for art, but one posted an ominous image of the woods taken just days before her disappearance stood out. With a pensive frown, Sarah dug deeper into past connections, hoping to unveil hidden tension. The first interviews with Emily's co-workers provided little clarity. Most were hapless witnesses to her troubled demeanor, echoing stories of sudden stress and isolation. They attributed her withdrawal to the pressures of teaching. But Sarah noticed a subtle discomfort when discussing a particular student known for his erratic behavior. The name echoed in her mind like an unanswered question. Yet, as the team expanded its inquiries, one person after another drifted through their sights without leaving a concrete trail: a classmate with a suspicious alibi, an estranged relative refusing contact, and even townsfolk too eager to assure investigators that they knew nothing. Each failure layered additional weight on Sarah's shoulders, the pressure thickening like a fog she couldn't sift through. It was as if the town's very essence were repelling the truth, fostering a deep-rooted culture of silence. Left with frustration and a gnawing sense of turbulence, Lane couldn't shake the feeling that deep down, someone knew more than they were letting on. In her gut, she recognized that the deeper they pushed, the more carefully guarded the sins of the past became. A break in the case, as twilight wrapped Windermere in deep indigo hues. A renewed sense of determination ignited within Detective Sarah Lane. Had the pieces finally started to align? She studied maps spread across the conference table, pinpointing locations emerging from her interview haunts of Emily's last days. Mislaid echoes of past incidents that had brought unease to the townsfolk. It crested on the following afternoon when a young officer informed her of a tip from an unlikely source: a gas station attendant who worked across town. The young man, in a slightly trembling voice, reported seeing a woman matching Emily's description arguing with a man outside the station the week before her disappearance. He remembered the confrontation vividly, as if something unfurling before him had pierced the stagnation of his mundane days. He believed the man had a distinctive tattoo, a conspicuous spiral that caught his eye as they flared in their heated discourse. Emerging from the fog of unsolved clues, Sarah seized the waxed folder with renewed fervor, a visual spark igniting her racing thoughts. She started canvassing local tattoo parlors immediately, wielding the description like a lifeline. Driven by urgency, her team collected surveillance footage, meticulously searching for the face that could shed light on the intertwined darkness. By nightfall, brightness flooded the precinct as the TV flashed a still image, a blurry frame of a man with a spiral tattoo, previously captured in the gas station parking lot. He was unknown to Windermere, a transient whose appearances seemed fleeting yet consistent. As authorities scoured the town's limits, they sent out an alert. Yet, amidst the fast-moving currents of apprehension, Sarah felt a cautious optimism settle in. She recognized that this new lead, however fragile, was the first thread in a tapestry woven from frayed memories and secrets. Perhaps now, just perhaps, the tangled narrative surrounding Emily's death might loosen, and a truth buried within the heart of Windermere could be reclaimed. The suspect. The atmosphere within the police precinct was electric as the team prepared for the interview. The figure who matched the tattoo from the gas station footage had been identified as Jacob Miller, an itinerant artist known for his transient lifestyle and occasional run-ins with the law. Reput him as a complex character and enigmatic soul, traversing the line between creativity and chaos. As the officers brought Jacob into the interrogation room, his attire was a patchwork of faded denim and paint-stained shirts, an artist's garb that contrasted starkly against the sterile sterility of the room. His wild, unkempt hair and the tattoo crawling up his forearm contributed to an aura, both captivating and alarming. He paced slightly, his gaze darting around as if searching for an escape. Detective Sarah Lane entered, maintaining a composed demeanor, despite the turmoil seething within. "Jacob," she began, her voice steady. "We need to talk about what happened the day you met Emily." She leaned forward, the weight of her intention clear. Then, as Sarah pressed further, the walls began to close around him. Glimmers of defensiveness flickered in his eyes, and the casual bravado slipped like grains of sand through his fingers. "But you were seen arguing," she insisted, sensing the shift but refusing to back down. "Do you want to explain what that was about?" Jacob's facade cracked as jagged breath escaped his lips. "It was nothing. What is a protest?" "It was nothing. She was upset about her art. I didn't mean to upset her." As Detective Lane continued, a tangle of emotions and half-formed stories emerged, revealing glimpses of vulnerability hidden behind an aura of neglect. His responses painted a portrait of chaos, small fragments shifting between warmth and volatility. With every flicker of connection made, suspicions deepened. Jacob was no longer merely an elusive artist. He was a key, possibly wrapped in despair, set amid a horrific reality. The next steps felt tangible, like the tightening noose of fate, and Sarah knew the subsequent hours would determine the course of the investigation. The trial. Months passed since Jacob Miller was arrested, and the weight of Emily Renshaw's death settled heavily on Windermere. The small courthouse radiated tension as the community converged, a sea of anxious faces waiting for the trial to unfold a communal reckoning. Every seat within the wood-paneled courtroom bore witness to a tragedy that had delicately woven into the very fabric of their town. Detective Sarah Lane sat among the audience, acutely aware of the gravity of the moment. The prosecution presented a narrative drawn from a tumultuous mix of witness statements, evidence from the crime scene, and Jacob's fluctuating confessions. The defense, leaning on the argument of mental health issues, painted Jacob as a troubled artist, a vagabond struggling within the confines of his own mind, rather than a calculated murderer. The prosecution laid the groundwork with emotional testimony from Emily's family, each word forging a deeper chasm of grief. Her mother spoke of her daughter's laughter and passion for art, fragments of their lives flooding the room with memory, but the focus remained unswervingly on the actions of the defendant, details of Jacob's past, his unpredictable behavior, and the argument captured in gas station surveillance. As more witnesses recounted their experiences, the tension crescendoed, an invisible thread connecting their vulnerabilities. Sarah found herself replaying moments leading up to Emily's disappearance, the threads of lies and truths, intertwining, blurring lines that felt insurmountable. Then came Jacob's own testimony, shaky and raw. With heavy breaths, he recounted the night, exposing fears, claiming confusion, filling in gaps that called into question his feelings and action. Yet, the deeper he plunged, the more the prosecution tore apart his narrative, revealing inconsistencies, a reluctance to fully confront the horror of that day. As the trial reached its climax, The jury, comprised of local residents, bore the visible strain of their duty. Behind closed doors, their decision promised to alter not only Jacob's fate, but also the tranquil rhythms of Windermere forever. Sarah felt an unsettling blend of hope and dread. Justice, while necessary, would never bring Emily back. The aftermath. After the verdict echoed through the hallowed halls of the courthouse, the immediate aftermath rippled back through Windermere, leaving an indelible mark on the community. Jacob Miller was found guilty, his fate sealed in a haze of collective sorrow and relief. Some whispered it was justice, while others felt the sting of uncertainty and unsettling blend that hung in the air long after the gavel had resounded. Detective Sarah Lane stood outside the courthouse, the sunlight harsh against her skin. But the warmth did little to thaw the chill creeping through her heart. The weight of the case, the emotions entwined with every testimony, lingered. She had fought tirelessly for justice. Yet, the victory felt hollow against the backdrop of loss. The town slowly transitioned back to its routines. But the shadows cast by Emily's murder refused to dissipate easily. Memorials popped up in unexpected corners, luminous art installations in local parks, and chalk-drawn tributes on walkways, each piece a testament to a life cherished yet cut short. The legacy of Emily Renshaw now vibrated through the heart of Windermere, her spirit an ever-present reminder of fragility. Even in the wake of the trial, whispers of fear continued to weave through the community. Folks found solace in discussing their grief, sharing memories of Emily, while acknowledging the deep-rooted anxiety that lingered after such a violent act. Loneliness seeped into the quiet corners where love once flourished. For Sarah, closure felt elusive. The shadow of injustice loomed larger than the resolution. She often revisited the woods where Emily had been found, pondering over the tangle of secrets they held, contemplating what she might have missed. With each visit, she became more determined to ensure that the truth would not become a mere footnote, lost amid the pages of Windermere's history. As the town slowly began to heal, whispers of unity emerged amidst the scarce tenacious thread binding the community, ensuring that Emily's story would never fade, but would instead inspire strength through vulnerability. Reflection. As the seasons changed and the leaves turned to hues of gold and crimson, Detective Sarah Lane found herself sitting on a park bench. The once vibrant laughter of children playing now felt mute. It was here, in the soft embrace of autumn, that she found time to reflect on the whirlwind of emotions that had engulfed Windermere over the past months. In the vast tapestry of life, Emily Renshaw's story felt like one of the stitches that held the community together. Yet the tragic snap still sent reverberations through those who knew her. The park was alive with the sounds of rustling leaves, yet the shadows of grief lingered like a poignant echo. Sarah recalled the faces she had seen during the trial. Emily's mother, chestnut hair glistening in the sunlight, tears brimming in her eyes, now trying to rebuild her life within the fabric of loss. The knowledge that justice had been served could not erase the unquantifiable pain that still haunted those who loved her. With each breath, Sarah grasped the weight of the lessons unfolding before her. Life was both fragile and resilient, a paradox fueled by hope and despair. The intricacies of human relationships weighed heavy on her heart. She had witnessed both the depths of darkness and the flickerings of collective strength. Ultimately, Windermere would emerge from this shadow, but the journey would be marked with scars-fraught reminders of the need for connection and understanding. Sarah vowed to carry every memory of Emily forward, not as a ghost of loss, but as a testament to love driving her commitment to support a community learning to speak its truths, no matter how difficult.